Hello and welcome
Hello.
to Plus Sports Special. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. I am your host on the show this Saturday, and I'm joined on the line by Gbenga Gboyega, all the way from Abuja. Gbenga, good afternoon. Gbenga, can you hear me?
Yes, hello. Can you
Uh,
hear me?
yes, I can hear you and I can see you. Thank you for joining me on the show. Thank you for joining all of us. How's your weekend going? We're struggling with Benga's sound, but we'll be back with him soon. Now, of course, it's it's international weekend, it's international week, and we're still going to be having more international football for the rest of this weekend and all the way up till Thursday next week. So, of course, we were looking forward to this game, but it's creating the level of disappointment that we continue to suffer when it comes to the Super Eagles. Seems like it's never ending. Even when we have top quality stars, attackers doing their thing, being the very best at scoring goals in Europe. They come to Africa, they come to Nigeria, and they struggle against teams that can only be considered minnows, while we, the giants of Africa, giants of African football, seem to struggle when we ought to be walking, strutting our stuff during matches. Of course, I'm talking about the Nigeria versus Guinea-Bissau match that took place last night. The presence of Napoli ace Victor Osimhen wasn't enough to secure a win for the Super Eagles as they suffered a hard-fought 1-0 loss to Guinea-Bissau at the MKO Abiola Stadium on game week 4 of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifying series. Nigeria were favourites ahead of kickoff, and head coach Jose Pesero's starting lineup showcased the Super Eagles' full attacking strength. Victor Osimhen began up front alongside Leicester City forward Kelechi Iheanacho, with Samuel Chukwueze and Ademola Lookman on either side. Yet it was Guinea-Bissau who made the critical breakthrough shortly before the half-hour mark, stunning the host side and the people inside the stadium, and it certainly shocked the rest of us at home. The Super Eagles spent the rest of the match in a failed effort to score and just never did. Gbenga, Gbenga, are you on the line?
Yes.
Um,
Yes,
now,
I'm online.
the Super Eagles created enough chances to not only equalize but to take the win in that match. What is it about Guinea-Bissau? Because this is not the first time we've struggled against them. What is it about them? Is it just us, or is it the Guinea-Bissau's that are doing so well? They are slaying giants when no one expects them to. Are we the giants? Are they the Jack and the Beanstalk? Why are we losing games to them?
So I would take a cue from the captain of the side. That's the captain of the Guinea-Bissau team, Mama Negrera. He said during the press conference after the match, names don't play on the football pitch. And I took that and I kept it in my right palm. Names don't play on the football pitch. I was fortunate to be on the field live at the MKO Abiola Stadium, and we could see the chants of names: Victor Osimhen, Iwobi, Indidi, when they all came out for the warm up before the match. And it was all chants of individual names. But when the game started, after the blast of the whistle, we didn't see those individuals. We didn't see those names. There was no coordination. There was lack of communication. Meanwhile, the Guinea-Bissau team that really didn't have much chance or have much names played as a team, had an identity, had an objective coming into the game, and carried it out to perfection. So I think that was what happened.
It hasn't been
We
up to a
were
year yet,
confident.
Benga. Jose Pizarro hasn't been in charge for too long of the Super Eagles. And we know that when it comes to the national team side, when it comes to international teams all around the world, the manager, the head coach, has a shorter period to work with the team. So it can take years to build a project. It can take as much as 2 to 3 years to build a working relationship amongst the players. Even though the players may have known each other for a long time, new tactics, new philosophy can strain those old ties and bonds and make them look like individuals on the pitch. So should we not be worried about the lack of coordination, the lack of connection from these players on the pitch just quite yet?
So it's just one loss in 3 games, 2 wins in the first 2 games. This was against the run of play. 1-0 scored in the 29th minute towards the half-hour mark, and it was looking like we couldn't come back. A particular journalist asked the question to the coach when we had time with him. He was like, why is it that Nigeria, the Super Eagles generally, do not know how to cope under pressure? And he cited the last 3-4 games where we conceded and couldn't come back into the game. We didn't even get, either we got a point or we got nothing from the game. So why aren't we working well under pressure? This is another part of the game we hardly talk about. When we concede, we don't have the ounce. Look at Arsenal Football Club when it comes to club football. This season, there are a lot of times they've gone behind, but there's that fighting chance and they come back to win games, not even draw games.
The true mark of great teams, the true mark of great champions is the endurance, the tenacity. They never say die attitude, which Manchester United up until this season were missing until Eric Ten Hag took over. Antonio Conte has complained about the nature of Tottenham not being able to deal with pressure. They've been historically accused of being bottlers, as they're called. Comparing the Nigerian team of today with the team of the 90s, the team that won the USA Olympic, are they not just on the same level when it comes to that never say die attitude, never give up personality? Is it just missing in this squad?
See, when it comes to the psychological part of the game, it's usually a rabbit hole when we start talking about it. And I don't think it would be fair to only blame the coach every time this kind of thing occurs, where we say the coach is not instilling confidence. Like Antonio Conte said when he blasted the journalist and also his team, there's no fire. There's no fire. And I don't think it's always down to the coach alone. Sometimes a heap of this blame has to go to the players, right? You have a job to do. You are a defensive midfielder, for crying out loud. Why not defend in the midfield? You're an attacking midfielder. Why not take the ball and initiate attack? When Iwobi was on the ball, it was obvious he lacked the idea of what next to do. You don't do that at that level of football. You are supposed to be a professional. After all, he was the only midfielder out of the 4 midfielders that were invited that started that is regular for his team, talking about Everton. Why didn't he show such match fitness on the day? So more than not, we blame the coach a lot and we absolve the players of their own side of the blame.
To that point, it can be such a big deal when managers go out and buy a player with the experience of winning something. Players who have been there, done that. We see Arsenal now. The Arsenal of this season is clearly not the Arsenal of last season.
Of course.
Because Arteta went out and brought in Gabriel Jesus. Some people complain that he's not a great goal scorer. He has only had 5 goals this season. Zinchenko does not defend as well as you might expect a left back to defend, but he contributes in midfield. He's able to go forward. He's able to contribute to the ability of the team to retain possession. And obviously, within the back room, within the locker room, the mentality is so much different. Are we just suffering from the fact that most of our Nigerian players, even the ones playing in Europe, haven't won a lot of trophies, titles, to have developed the level of never die attitude that we are requiring in the squad, compared to the players back in the day when Kanu Nwankwo won in Ajax, won with Arsenal, JJ Okocha had tremendous success in PSG. Are we just suffering from a lack of players who have won it abroad so that they can translate that and help the manager on the pitch by being the leaders that the squad needs them to be?
I would disagree with that fact, and I would cite some few examples. We don't lack winners. We lack the enthusiasm to win. And to put it lightly, or to put it in a raw format, I would say we have players that are lackadaisical on the field of play. Iheanacho was part of the under 20, I'll be under 17 that won when he was there. Victor Osimhen was part of the under 20 also that won in his time there. We have Iwobi, who didn't just win for country, he won for Arsenal. He was with Arsenal Football Club when they won the FA Cup. I can mention other football players within the team that have tasted victories, both for club and for country. So we have them. Currently, Victor Osimhen is in a Napoli team that are yearning for the Serie A title. They are about 18 to 20 points ahead of the second place team. And they are even the one who have the player with the highest goal. They have the player with the highest assist. That is the team Victor Osimhen is coming from. Why didn't he replicate that on the field of play? So, like I said, we are always looking for ways to absorb the players of the team. We have players who have won, they just don't know how to replicate it into the national team.
So, what do we just need better leaders in the locker room? Players who are motivated to give everything on the pitch as much as they would for their club sides. Like Victor Osimhen has been wearing a mask throughout this season. Obviously, he put his head, his face, his vision on the line for a ball and suffered a great impact with Skriniar of Inter Milan. Are we lacking leaders who can motivate the rest of the squad to give that level of performance, the level of commitment that the national team deserves?
I think one of the reasons we had Musa in the team was just what you just described, right? And I think
Musa hasn't won a lot, so perhaps his mentality, his ability to motivate is limited.
In context, he has done a lot for Nigeria on the big stage. Musa has scored the most World Cup goals of all the Nigerian footballers that have ever graced the earth. Musa has the most caps, 106 appearances for the Super Eagles. He is not coming into the side to start games. He is coming into the side to do what he did yesterday, come in the 93rd minute, right? So we had him in the team to do just that. We're supposed to have Truth Hekong. I think injury left him out. He's also one of the leaders. We used to have Yobo for this. We used to have Mikel Obi for this. But one way or the other, that elite level of leadership in the team has died with the flow. Even from the goalkeeping department, we used to have an Eyama that controls the defense line. We didn't see that from Francis Uzo. Yes, he did some kind of shouts, gesticulations, but there was no clear-cut idea of communication.
So can we, when a team is being built, aside from having one or two players who are leaders in their position or within the locker room, one of the great understanding of how a team can function, we call it the spine. The striker must be a top leader from the front, the midfielder that can lead and marshal the midfielders. Same goes for a center back, a strong one that can do the work of marshalling the team, and the goalkeeper who has the greatest perspective on the pitch because the play is ahead of him and he can read everything. Are we lacking a spine capable of leading us to glory?
Sometimes it baffles me, and it looks like we have Super Eagles players who have, what's the word now? Multiple personalities. You know, Samuel Chukwueze is coming from a Villarreal side where he scored 11 goals and 11 assists in the Spanish La Liga. We had Alademola Lukman, who has scored 14 goals in the Serie A. We had Victor Osimhen, who has crossed 20 goals in the league with Napoli, right? We had these players on the pitch of play. What other spine were we looking for? Is it that they forgot these abilities when they came to MKO Abiola Stadium? No, I was privileged to be there, sadly, to watch these players live. Chukwueze couldn't go past one player. One. So how was he doing it in Spain? Iheanacho couldn't even string one or two passes or give a clear-cut pass to Victor Osimhen. How was he doing it in Leicester City? Do you understand? So we had these players, but for some reasons, they are not being translated to the national team. Let's not forget, the goalkeeper trainer was changed this week. Second head coach was changed this week. Nobody's talking about that. We've missed it in a lot of ways, and patching a lot of holes without identifying the core problem will just continue to be frustrated.
All right, so obviously we could talk about this all day long. I think problems, as they say, they finish.
Yeah, they finish.
So we continue to hope for a better day. We hope that Jose Pizarro will be the answer for this Super Eagles. We hope that this is just part of the process of making the sausage, of the process of making the omelet and getting the job right.